Hi, my name is Bruce Finch, and I'm going to go over our character sheet tutorial for Fellowship of the White Star Rosebud system. And so here we go. Uh, this is the wide example of our character sheet. Uh, it is multi-page, two-page actually. The information over here past this AC column is going to be all off page. You won't see that if you print the spreadsheet, uh, character sheet, but it's there for added information, helpful, useful pieces that may be useful to you as you use the character sheet or want to make changes or as reference for various things. And so to get started, Joanne, our friend and longtime player, has given me specifications for a character she'd like made. And so I'm going to put her name here in the player box. Joanne. And because she did not give me a character name, I'm also going to put her name in for the character name. Now, she can obviously change any of this at any time that she'd like, but just as good reference, we're going to call the character Joanne as well. And she wanted her character to be an investigator, and but she investigates as a hobby. So I'm going to put investigator as the archetype because that describes what she does for the team or in general. And over here in this box, I could put just about anything I want. Nor we envision that people might put maybe something more to help describe the character. She said that her character is a socialite and a flapper and a party girl. So I'm going to put flapper socialite, but you could put your hometown or something that helps more describe the character uh, on initial check. So flapper socialite. So pardon that jump. Uh, Over here on the left, sorry, right, here's what we call the tier, and we are using average tier. That's what we recommend normally. For a more heroic play, you could go up to high, and you'd have 400 points to build a character. Or a very grittier campaign, you might start with 300 points. But as an average campaign, 350 points to build a character. And so she envisioned her character uh, less of a uh, combative uh, boxing kind of uh, individual. So we're going to put her brawn down just slightly. If you look over here to the far right, you can see attributes go from 1 to 8, and an average for a person is 3. 3 is going to be the average overall. So 2 is just below average. It's not awful. It's just a little bit below average. Uh, and her coordination, she said she liked to dance a lot, and uh, as investigator, she might want to be a little more coordinated. So we're going to make that a 4. And with this, you can either just put the numbers in, or you can use the drop-down menus in most places. So her durability is her health, and if she actually gets into a brawl, is she can uh, how much damage she can take, and slug off. So we're going to give her an average durability. She's she's fairly healthy, and but intuition, that's her insight and how she can uh, formulate ideas and see past things. So she has good insight, and she's outgoing and socialite. So we're going to give her above average in presence. Um, she said she was smarter than she looks or than people think, but we're going to leave her. We're going to keep her at an average in smarts and reason. Um, her swiftness, that's her speed, how quickly she can react to things. We're going to make her average there and keep her average in her willpower, or her will, how she can keep from being talked into things, or her mind overcome by others or spells or things. Um, I mentioned her durability and her health. Physical condition monitor, that's how much damage she can take until she perishes. There's physical and non-lethal. The non-lethal is bruising and slaps to the face, maybe, or anything that's not deadly. If you take too much non-lethal damage, that could run over to your physical. Uh, if you are in a fist fight, it is possible for someone to have an advantage, and we'll talk about advantages in a little bit. There is an advantage called lethal fists, which every other box of damage from somebody hitting, uh, uh, making a punch, becomes physical damage. So you can take or give if you have it. Uh, one non-lethal and one physical box of damage, and on and on and on. So we, with our attributes bought, we have 105 points left to spend, uh, out of our 350. Now on to skills. Joanne wanted to be an investigator, or is going to be an investigator. So we're going to start with the top of the skills, with evaluate. Evaluate is how you can tell the difference between something valuable or not, or the characteristics of things. She said she wanted to be really good at telling if somebody is lying to them. So we're going to give her a 4 in evaluate. So that's above average. She knows what she's doing there, and uh, she knows what she's doing. It's on the top end of that. So and investigate as well. She's her hobby is investigating. So but that was important to her. So we'll make that a 4, and we're going to go down to negotiate and make that a 3, so she can uh, uh, try to negotiate for her her information if she needs to, or get herself out of danger. Uh, Notice is important for her to be aware of her surroundings and spot clues. Uh, Investigate will also allow her to find clues if she's actually searching for something, where notice will allow her to just see something that's happened, or that's in the area. Resources. She said that she wanted to be from a wealthy family, old money, and so that's having a bunch of cash available, or just all kinds of different resources that that go into this skill. So that's going to be 4, and ruse. This will allow her to don disguises or uh, lie to people. So going on, and you can see how the uh, all the skills cost points to buy. Rank 3 is more expensive than a rank 4, and so on. And our XP available is going down as we expend it. Down in combat, uh, she said that she liked the idea of shooting, if need be, and having a cute gun. So we're going to choose, but she's not very good at it, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. Uh, so we're going to give her 2 in pistols, and over with weapons, we're going to give her a small light pistol. We're going to actually give her an automatic, a light automatic. It's kind of a cute gun. It's concealable, uh, and we're going to give her unarmed combat just in case somebody tries to uh, put a knife to her, or use uh, brass knuckles or a sap or something. That way she can physically defend herself. Uh, Now, if we wanted to say specifically that she was using a Colt 45, we could say uh, heavy pistol and specify the weapon. And that's okay. It doesn't match, but we know we're okay with that. So Colt 45 is a heavy pistol. It's 5 points of damage instead of the 3 points of damage from the light gun. Now, if we didn't care for the name, we and just cared about what generally the weapon was, we could just say 45, a 45, and that would count for any uh, weapon of that type. So a Colt or a Smith and Wesson or a Luger Parabellum or Mauser or anything you want to specify, go ahead. We're going to be more generic about it, so you can specify if you want, or you can just go with the generic. So we're going to get rid of those and get rid of this because we don't need that. Um, but she wanted a cute gun and be able to take care of herself a little bit. The damage is based on the weapon type itself. Uh, Unarmed strike, if you try to hit somebody, it doesn't do a lot of damage unless you are really successful at it. That's why it starts at 0. Um, but if you're more successful, more accurate, and that kind of thing, you can ramp up the damage. So tactics is another thing we want to give her so that she doesn't get surprised by somebody uh, trying to hit her from behind, or that she as she if somebody's shooting at her from a distance, she can maybe dodge it, or turn her body sideways so she makes less of a target, and that changes her range defense. If we get rid of tactics entirely, again, that'll drop it down to just her swiftness attribute, or her skill plus her swiftness divided by 2. We always round up when we're divided. We we like rounding up. It's just a good idea. Um, so we're gonna give her 2 points in tactics, so she knows how to defend herself against a ranged attack, somebody throwing something, or somebody shooting at her, and that will increase her ranged defense to 3. Um, so um, down in learning skills, because she's a, a detective or an amateur detective, likes investigating, we're going to give her a couple of ranks in cipher, so she can decode things. She told me that she was educated at home, so we're going to give her a little bit of all the learning skills. We're going to give her 1 in geography and history, and I'm going to drop down to law, give her 1 in there, and 1 in math, and 1 in science. Now, she she said that she's from San Francisco. It's a cosmopolitan kind of town, and because she was educated at home, she knows a few more languages than just her native. That's what the 1 there means. 1N is 1 native language. If you put ranks into language, you get to know more languages. And over here in this notes section, I'm going to put her languages that she said she wanted to know. So it's a quick reference. So she's native English speaker, being from America. She said she wanted to know French. And because she's from San Francisco, she says she wanted to know Chinese. And she thought she might have a Romanian neighbor, and so learned Romanian from the neighbor. So that is her native language plus 3 more, which plus 2. So we're going to drop Romanian. I thought it was 3 earlier, but apparently it's just 2. So she'll learn that later. Later, when she gets more experience, she can add another rank into language and learn extra languages. But for now, we're going to drop that back down to 2. Okay, so because she is an investigator, she may want mechanics, because mechanics allows her to do all kinds of things with mechanical devices, including locks. She may want to pick a locks at some point to break into a home, to investigate somebody or some kind of building, or maybe a locked gate or a safe. Or she may want to fix her car. And we haven't gotten to that, but down at Pilot, she wanted to be able to drive an automobile and a motorboat. So mechanics might be useful to her. So we're going to give her 3 in that, because as an investigator, it could be very important. Down in sports, she thought herself as to be very athletic, so we'll give her 3 in athletics. Um, an athletics role will be able to allow you to run faster than you might normally, uh, and it's good for skiing or all kinds of athletic endeavors, climbing, uh, and such like. Concentrate. Uh, with concentrate, that increases her mental defense. It also allows her to uh, work on an individual project or do other feats of concentration. So we'll give her a couple of ranks in concentrate. That increases her mental defense to 3. Gymnastics, balancing is, it could be important if she's going over rooftops or any other uh, wobbly things. So we'll give her 1 in gymnastics, and she's, like I said before, she said that she wanted to be able to drive a car, an automobile, and uh, until you actually put a point in that, you don't have really any any knowledge of doing that. Driving's a difficult kind of task until you learn it. So if we only put one in there, she gets one kind of vehicle to learn. But we'll put three in there, so she's pretty darn good at it, and that gives her two kinds of vehicles that she can drive or pilot. So over here in this small notes section, I'm going to put vehicles that she knows how to drive, pilot, and under that I'm going to say wheel and motorboat. There's all kinds of vehicles that people can choose: automobiles, motorcycles, airplanes, dirigibles, motorboats, sailboats, trains, uh, 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 large steamships, all kinds of different vehicles. They're all listed in our uh, skill group and under our vehicle section in the equipment chapter. So moving on down to sneak, as an investigator, she might not want to be seen breaking into buildings or places she shouldn't be, or trying to trail somebody that she's investigating. So we'll give her a 3 in sneak, and with her 4 in coordination, she's pretty good at that. That would be 7 dice because you add your attribute and your skill together to know how many dice you can roll to be able to try to get your successes. And we're going to give her 3 in unarmed combat so she can defend herself in those up close combats, and that increases her melee defense to 3, where it was a 2 before we put anything in there. She doesn't know how to do any magic, but there is magic in our system. So spell casting consists of casting spells consists of spell casting skill and a related attribute to whatever discipline of magic you know. And the disciplines of magic have varying different spells that are associated with them. So when you choose a discipline, you have a attribute that you cast with. So in her case, coordination, intuition, or presence might be good. And if she decided to learn magic, and that would be pact, nature, or science. So mad science or just science. And the token skills associated are allow you to cast spells instantaneously. So if I pop up one of our spells, say charm suggestion, so she wants to be able to charm the information from somebody that she needs instead of just negotiating or talking them out of it. She wants them under her spell. Uh, it would normally take 10 minutes to cast that. But if she chose charm as one of her token spells, she could expend one of those and cast it instantaneously. But she doesn't know magic, so that's not available. And with each spell, we list what the threshold to be able to cast the spell, how many successes are consistent in advance to get a better result, and how long it takes to cast, what the area or the distance, sometimes it's the same, that you can affect, and how long it lasts. All this is detailed in our spells tab and in our spells chapter. Uh, and along with the spells, there's two spells you get for free when you choose to be able to do magic: Arasight and Ledger Domain. Ledger Domain is being able to do small things. You also get a ritual, which is rituals take longer and are more involved cooperative magic. So more than one person can work on a spell. Uh, so we have spells available in a tab, so you can refer to them as you play or as a reference when you're choosing your spells. Each spell has disciplines that are associated with them. So, academic, nature, and science for this one. Um, General is available to everyone. And so, when you're choosing to do magic, you might want to look over the spells to figure out what spells you want to be able to cast and what discipline makes sense to you. Uh, so now that we've got her skills and her attributes, we'll go down to advantages and disadvantages. Uh, Now, these allow you to be a little more unique, have different uh, things available to you, and a different may influence your style of play. Uh, and you have 5 free points in advantages to spend. So things that allow you to be better at certain things. Okay, so advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, you get 5 free advantages, five points in advantages to spend for free. And we have a tab with all the advantages and disadvantages, so you can reference them and make decisions. Or if when you have them listed, so you can refer back to them if you need to. So 5 free points of advantages allows you to choose multiple different things. They have varying point costs. Uh, some of them cost even more than 5. In this case, magic resistance 3. Uh, Advantages and disadvantages allow you to customize your character a little bit more. And so we are going to start with some disadvantages. Disadvantages allow you extra points to add into your advantage spending. You can buy up to 8 points in disadvantages to spend on additional advantages. So, because she's an investigator, we're going to give her curiosity. Curiosity is normally a good thing, but as a disadvantage, curiosity is sometimes a problem when she can't get to the bottom of a line of questioning, or uh, has to leave for some reason and can't finish what she started. Uh, she has to make a concentration and willpower and a will check to get past that. We gave her a couple of ranks in concentration, and her will, you add that together, and that's how many dice she gets. Now, so it can be difficult for her to leave a line of questioning, or a stone unturned, as it were. So beyond curiosity, she saw the disadvantage of dark secret and thought that was really interesting. So, Dark Secret is something that everyone has to choose what their dark secret is themselves. Um, you could have killed somebody and it's been kept a secret, or a family member that's a problem, or uh, anything to your mind, to your imagination. But if somebody finds out about it, if it gets out, then to the public, then you are required to buy it off. And so it's not cheap to buy this disadvantage off. Uh, it gives you a bad reputation disadvantage, and which is, instead of a normal D8 that you roll in the Rosebud system, you're forced to roll D6s to get a target number, and so it makes it really difficult to do negotiations and use your ruse skill when you have a bad reputation. But she likes the idea of some dark secret in her past, or that she's keeping away from the public. So we're going to give her dark secret, which gives an extra 4 points. And she wanted to be a pacifist. It doesn't mean that she can't fight, but she prefers not to fight. With the combat skills, pistol and tactics, and unarmed combat, she knows how to take care of herself, but she prefers not to fight. Being a pacifist also affects how much these skills cost. So you can see down in learning, a skill rank of 2 normally would cost 3 points to buy it. But because she's a pacifist, it costs 3 times normal for any skill in the combat section. So now we're down to a -10 in our spending. We're going to correct that here in a second with with our first advantage. So, as I said earlier, uh, our our attribute points, the first one's free, so that costs you nothing. Rank 2 costs 10 points, and so what we're going to give her is a bonus attribute point. And a bonus attribute point, when I can get down to it, costs three advantage points, but it gives 10 XP towards character creation, which makes that first point that you have to buy free. So now we're at 0, which is good, and we'll get back to that in a moment after we buy all the rest of her advantages. So, as an investigator, we want her to be as lucky and fortunate as possible. So we're actually going to give her the advantage fortunate. Fortunate increases her hero points. Her hero points are how many rerolls she can make. If she fails to get enough successes on a particular skill check, she can take all her failed dice and roll them again. But she can only do that three times a day. That's the number of hero points she has. Now, hero points are based on the lowest attribute you've got, and that was 2 because of her brawn. So if we got rid of her fortunate status, that brings her hero point back down to 2 to equal uh, her lowest attribute, which is 2. But with fortunate, that brings her hero points up 1 to 3. So she has 3 rerolls every day that she can roll. We're also going to give her a good reputation, opposite of the bad reputation from earlier. Good reputation will, bring that up. Good reputation gives a higher die for negotiation ruse skills, which are important to her as an investigator. So for negotiation and ruse, we're going to give her a die 10, which is a step up from a die 8. So she's really good at those things. Really, really kind of lucky with those kinds of skills. And the next thing we want to give her is luck. So luck is a little bit different than fortunate, but kind of similar. In every encounter, she gets to roll a single failed die. Not all of them, just a single die, but she can do that every encounter. And I'm going to make a note of that and say we roll 1 die per encounter. That's just a reminder that she can do that. And with good reputation, we already made a change here, so you can see that. And next, we're going to go to Moxie. We're going to Moxie of 2. So Moxie gives her an advantage that she can throw 2 dice because it's Moxie 2. She can throw 2 extra dice in any negotiation or ruse check, but only in a dangerous situation. So, like if she was in under threat or trying to do something very very dangerous, negotiate for world peace while she has a gun pointed at her, or anything that would be a dangerous situation. It really depends on what's going on around her. So I'm going to put a note right there as well and put a star here because it's a particular situation, not all situations. But we're going to put that there and say +2 bonus dice in negotiation and ruse. And so that's 2 extra dice she gets to throw for those. Also, beyond Moxie, she said that she was from a wealthy family, old money. So we're going to give her old money, and which gives her a die change in resources. While it doesn't give her more resources, she's just more likely to succeed when she tries to obtain something or use her resources. The next thing that we want to give her, because we still have 2 points to spend, we're going to give her savoir-faire. Savoir-faire is being comfortable in any social situation. So, especially for new groups or new areas, she goes to Paris. People will accept her as maybe a local where they wouldn't, somebody from the countryside even, uh, or she walks into a party and it's almost like they all know her, um, and that kind of thing. So she's going to be treated very nicely, or well, as opposed to people that are strangers. She's treated as a friend, uh, in almost every situation. And the last point, we've got 4 out of our 5. The last point we want to spend, we're going to give her talented. And talented, we also going to specify that she is talented in evaluate. We said earlier that she told me that she wants to be able to, or can, tell when people are lying to her. So she's going to be really, really good at that. And evaluate, evaluate, evaluate. And so up at evaluate, we'll change that to a 10 as well. Now, we could have given her uh, talented in resources, and that would have moved the 10 that we gave her earlier to a D12. Uh, so just really, really good at that. But she's not, so we're going to drop that back down to a 10. We gave it to her and evaluate. Now, there are lots and lots of other advantages and disadvantages. There's an advantage that allows you to change your defenses. Mental defense allows you to, as uh, uh, be less likely that you'll come under somebody's spell or be talked into something, maybe. Um, Martial defenses are all somewhat combat related, uh, versus ranged. If you're being shot at or something thrown at you, melee, of course, is somebody trying to hit you with something, the fists or a weapon. Or now you can choose, with the right advantage, you can make a change to any one of those. Um, if she wanted to change her melee defense, she could make that anything, including resources. She's going to throw money at him, so that, because her resources are bigger, she can, that would increase that. Now, it could be mental defense or range defense at just about anything. Uh, any one of those and any skill, depending on the advantages you choose. But she didn't. We didn't have her choose either one of those, so she doesn't get that. The damage mitigation is how well you can take damage. If somebody shoots you or hits you, uh, you're going to accumulate wounds. Before you accumulate the wound, you might it might not hurt you as much as they had hoped it would, and you get to roll your damage mitigation. And there are advantages that increase or change your die in both cases. Um, so you can change that. You can also change your recovery die. Recovery is how you heal from from a wound. And initiative, of course, is who's going first, or or that kind of thing. And now that we are complete, we've got everything, all our XP spent, our from our uh, character creation and our advantages and disadvantages spent. We can say character creation is done, and add that there. And now if you pick another advantage, or or even a disadvantage. If she chooses curiosity at this point and it's after character creation, it's going to cost her 10 XP to buy it off. She's not that curious. Or she might have chosen pacifist to buy off because she's found that she's more of a combatant than she thought she was. You can also buy additional advantages the same way. Buying an advantage after character creation uh, costs experience. Um, and spending more on attributes or skills will cost experience. We have an event log that you can record your events, your gameplay, modules that you've played. However you play the game, you can add into here. This is not a requirement. It's available for your use. Uh, People in other campaigns have found this a very useful tool. You can say what the event was, what the mission of the Lost Mine, or the Orient Express mission, or something like that. You can say how much experience you got there. Like if we got five, you got 5 experience. It's going to pop up as this little box and allow you to say, oh yes, I got 5 experience there, and you put that in, and then you can spend it. But you don't need to use the event log at all, and just record your experience. So on the event log, there's play date, and that's the day you actually played the event, and so you can keep track of what you played on any given day. DU stands for day units. So there's 365 day units, or days in a year, calendar year, and events will take a certain amount of time. Modules will give you a certain amount of days that it takes to do the job that you're given. If you're playing home play, you can say, oh yeah, we traveled to the Yukon and back in 9 days, and you write down 9 days, and it subtracts it from 365 and gives you how many days are left in your play year. And you might want to say, oh yes, and we went to the Yukon, and you can put that location there, so you can remember where that event was that you played. And in-game date. Our game setting is set in the 1920s, so you can actually put what the date was in the game. Every module has a game date when you start, and so you can say where and when you were at any given time. This may help you keep track of what you did. And whoops, pardon me. And the extended resource test is there so you can keep track of an extended resource test. So if you are trying to purchase something that is outside of your normal resources, like an airplane or a motorcycle or a large firearm that is expensive, or a home, just anything that's expensive that you can't afford right away, you can say, oh yes, I got 5 successes this time, and I used X number of however many successes. The number here is your actual resources number, and if you have any alterations on the resources. Joanne has 4 in her resources skill and uses die 10s. Normally, that's a die 8 and wouldn't show up, but if you have a penalty or are really, really good, that can either be a d6 or a d12 or and so on. So that's just there as a reference. So the event log is, again, available, but not absolutely necessary. Um, we have the Advantage tab to as a reference guide, and so you can look through and make choices. Um, and if you choose a background package, uh, the uh, the package has 2 or more skills that are associated with it that are covered under the same cost. So that's why they're listed like that. Like, as in, if we drop down here and say magic upbringing, uh, backgrounds are uh, character creation only. That's why the XP shows up as an X. You can't pick it up as an after start. But if we chose it here, magic upbringing, we'd also want to come down to studied in magic and that would give it to us for free, and the other skills as well, or other attributes, uh, advantages. Um, and The weapons tab gives you all the weapons that we have associated in our drop down menu, and so you can take a look at those, so you can make choices without having a need to look at them in a small thing. You can see at a glance what the damage rate is, maybe what the resources requirement are, and so on. Uh, and the spells tab has all the spells and all their information. And back to the main page. Uh, Printing, if you choose to print a character sheet, it's divided into 2 pages. The second page starts here with the information's at the top of the first page. And because Joanne's from San Francisco, we'll put USA here. And San Francisco. She didn't give me any other information about her details, so I'll let her fill those in on her own when she gets the copy of the character sheet. Also, off the print are some other details. The vehicle list, as I mentioned much earlier, this is the list of all the vehicle types, and your resources table. Generally, how much you would have in your pocket, a spending pocket, not your total worth or value. Anybody with 3 in resources would have $30 $30 that they can just spend on anything, and anything of $30 or less, you may already have with you. Um, and Joanne has resources of 4, so anything that would cost $50, which is quite a lot in the 1920s, she might already have access to, whether she has it on her or just available to her. She might already own, or she could just pick up without batting an eye, and that puts her spending level in the middle class. Although her family is old money, um, her spending level, her personal spending level, is only a 4. Now, her family might be much higher on the resource list, but her access is only a 4. Um, and we also have off to the side what our ranges are. for your quick reference. Um, and again, the skills and attributes, what their ranges mean. And that is the character sheet. And I will save this for Joanne later to use. And I had already created one of these for her. So I'm going to save a duplicate copy for her use as later. And hope to see you at a convention or game day, or possibly play with you online. And have fun. Be great agents.